Good afternoon. I'm out here today. We're going to be working on putting a new impeller in the 25 horse Johnson on my John boat. This is the 81 model, 25 horse. It's set up for a while. So first things first, before I can do anything else, I need to get the impeller replaced. That way when I do have everything else ready to go, I can actually start it up and it will remain cool.
Daddy, I want to be in the video.
So we're fixing to get started tearing it down. First thing you got to do is you've got to get this lower bolt out that holds your shift linkage in. Now well, first thing I do is get the cover plate off, but my cover plate was missing. I've got a new one to replace it. But I'm going to take that out and then I'll show you what we got to do after I get that all the way out. The next thing we got to do is we got to take out these 4 bolts. There's one here, one here, and then 2 more in the same place on the other side. These are, what size is this? 7/16. The top bolt was a 3/8. Unit off, we had to remove this nut right here.
That one nut?
Yes.
This will be an easy thing to do.
It's not too bad. It's something that's got to be done typically every year.
Okay, that's kind of dumb.
Well, so it breaks down, and just as a precaution, it's best to do it every year. It's a cheap part, it's an easy process.
That was so easy.
And that ain't good right there.
What?
Got a bunch of dirt daubers all around it. Gotta get all that cleaned out. Kind of the same thing, we got this housing here that's got to come off. And it's got 4 bolts on it that have to come out to get the housing off that holds the impeller. Now when you take this off, sometimes your impeller will come with a little pin. Sometimes it won't. Mine didn't, so I gotta make sure I don't drop this pin, otherwise I'm gonna have to go to the boat shop tomorrow and get another pin if I lose it. So I'm gonna try my best not to lose it. And these here are 5/16.
Go get the ball. Run away, run away.
Ooh, that wind. And I've got a problem here because the shaft I have, or the impeller I have, is different than the one that this thing had on it. So it's got an older style. This one here has a little plastic keeper, and it's got itself wedged in there. So I'm gonna have to try to get that undone. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so luckily I had some brass rod to make this. This is kind of an older style way of doing it. I took just a little piece of 1/8 inch brass rod, cut it down. And this impeller, this drive shaft has a little flat spot right here. And this impeller, it has a little half circle cut out in it. The trick to this, it's in here, you slip your impeller over, and I like to pull the shaft out just a little bit, line it up, kind of, sort of, slide it up, slide it all the way back in. Now that impeller is going to spin. Now we need to make sure we have our blade spinning. Make sure we have our blade spinning the right way. So I know this side was up, so I need my blade spinning counterclockwise when I put this back on here. One of the nice things about videoing yourself doing it is you can go back and watch what you did, make sure you're doing it right. Because it's been a minute since I've done one of these, and if I had to do it off memory, I'd have it wrong. Sometimes you may have to take a little pick tool or a screwdriver or something because you can't get your fingers down in there and get that lined up. Although, I think I've got this on here wrong. Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a screwdriver and try to work this impeller, these impeller blades down a little bit until it'll start going down on there, and once it's down on there, it should be good. Get my bolts back started. Tighten them back up. Always tighten in a cross pattern, and you get one side snug, not tight, but just snug and down, and then go in a diagonal pattern. So I'm gonna come over here. If I start out here, I'm gonna come to this one. I'm gonna get it snugged up. From there, you can basically either drop down or go back over. I'm going to go back over. Of course, this goes with anything. Engine-wise, typically you want to tighten in a cross pattern. Tighten that up, make it good and tight. Tight there. Good and tight there. Good and tight there. All right. Now it's ready to go back on the motor. Now when you go back in with your lower unit, and this thing's filthy on the inside. When you go back in with the lower unit, you need to make sure that the housing for your impeller goes into this. Otherwise, you will get no water up to your engine. And then you'll also have to watch in here and make sure your shift linkage on your lower unit lines up and goes inside there. there's two things you got to watch as you slide this in. Once you get it in, your impeller, and bolt everything back, your impeller's done, and it should pump water. Sometimes you may have to, because you have a spline shaft, you may wind up having to turn it to get it to line up with the splines on the bottom of the engine. Just be careful you don't grind anything out in doing that. Somewhere, make sure that's lined up. And my shift linkage is in the wrong spot. You want to make sure your shift linkage is in forward when you go to slide this in. Otherwise, you will not get what you want. There we go.
How many leaves have to be on a plant for it to be terrible TP?
3.
Why?
Because it's probably poison ivy.
Or a 3-leaf clover.
Well, that's not going to be very big toilet paper. Yeah. The first bolt I would put in this thing, I usually will start with this nut just to hold it on there, and I'll just put it finger tight. The first bolt I would recommend putting in is going to be your shift linkage bolt. Once you get it lined up, sometimes you'll have to push on this shift linkage to line it up with your linkage rod. Once you get it in there, I would tighten this all the way up until you're 100% certain it's tight. Don't over tighten it because it is a brass connection there, and you don't want to strip that brass, which is easy to do. But once you have that in, the rest of it is easy. You just come in here, put these 4 bolts in. And you may have to twist a little ways to line everything up. Once you get it lined up, just tighten away. Again, tighten in an X pattern. And then the last one I'll tighten up will be the nut on the very back. Oh, dadgummit. Grabbed the wrong sucker. 7/16. Now watch, I'm going to tighten this up to where it's just closed, but not super tight. I'm going to drop down here and get this bottom one, since I started with the top. Again, you don't want to over tighten any of this because this is cast aluminum.
Oh, Jeremy, get back here, girl. Get back here. No. Get her in here. Get her on the line,
And impeller's done. Now we will move on to the fuel pump and a carb cleanup. Fuel pump's really easy. It's right there. It's actually just these two screws. Pop that loose. I have a whole brand new fuel pump unit. The carb is going to be a little bit of a different story. It's going to be pretty fun, I think. But that'll be for another video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks. God bless.